Joining us now is one of those people hoping to score the seat, Robert Gross. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, we were just talking a moment ago. You are a DC native. Tell us about where you grew up and how it impacted who you are.
So I grew up on 14th and R Street, right downtown. After growing up here, I grew up going to Garrison Elementary. I walked to school every day. I went to Cardozo Education Campus to graduate, and then afterwards I went to the Air Force, worked on aircraft systems as an aircraft hydraulic technician. After that, I went into IT. Been working that for the better part of a decade now.
So you're trained, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's a hobby that pays well.
So I was going to ask you how that hobby and profession set you up for this role, because you talk about modernizing the DC government. What areas do you think perhaps modernization, AI, technology can play a role in helping making lives of DC residents better?
So honestly, in every sector of our governance, I believe that AI is an assistance, not a replacement. From housing, healthcare, education, all of it. We recognize that Washington, D.C. is running on a 1974 Home Rule Act. So at that time, Windows wasn't even created. So the advancement into technology now is only something that can progress us forward and show ourselves as a self-reliant, self-sufficient, soon-to-be state.
And you expand that even to the money when it comes to the city. You said funding's not a problem, although I think funding probably is a problem in the District of Columbia, but you see it more of a systems problem.
Yes. Right now, Washington, D.C. runs on 25 different departments and agencies. Well, more than that for the agencies and offices that are within the city. But that's 25 different departments with 25 different budget systems and 25 different fragmented leadership structures. What we are saying is that we will use this AI modernization to have a budget allocation to be able to audit for duplicate services, audit for outdated tech, audit for underused and unused funds, so that we can make sure that our city is utilizing every bit of itself for our progression.
Some folks will hear that and say, here's a candidate for mayor who's coming after my job, because he maybe thinks that cutting the red tape is the easiest way to go. I know you mentioned AI as an assistance, not a replacement. So for those folks who do the public service work in the DC government, what would your message be to them were you ultimately to become mayor?
Rest assured, what this whole plan is a standard of living. So it is meant to create a reformed government that is getting out of the 1974 Richard Nixon era into a form of government that is more suited for your individual quality of life. It is meant to show you that the city actually thinks about you and actually cares about whether or not you are progressing as an individual person here, and not necessarily just how much capital the capital is bringing in.
I'm kind of curious when you talk about looking at all of these budgets and maybe money that hasn't been spent. How much do you think is sitting on the table that hasn't been used in the district?
Well, I mean, talk about the budget now. We know for a fact that there is that $1.1 billion gap.
Right.
But within, the office of the deputy mayor, within general services, within each department, there are redundant offices, redundant filings, the redundant sections where we are spending either the same thing or more than we need to. So the plan is to standardize all these forms, to actually check the metrics and see whether or not that spending is necessary. And if it is, it goes forward. If it's not, we reallocate those funds to something else. And there are often times that by the end of the year, they haven't used all the funding that they have. So we really just need to see how much through an audit. I was thinking 6 to 9 months audit within the first year, to be able to actually check on how much we're spending and where it all goes.
So we know affordability, public safety, two very big issues in this mayoral race. From an affordability standpoint, you got utility prices that are high, housing costs that are high. And then from a public safety standpoint, there's this large argument over what to do about youth gatherings. Yes. Where are you on the whole notion of curfew and larger public safety items and the affordability piece?
So I know that the curfew has been finalized. I guess we'll have to rework that when we have the time. But I noticed that a lot of the youth in our city just are wanting something to do. I just recently spoke at the budget oversight meeting or hearing about the Mayor Summer Youth Employment Program. It's like if we can get our students to recognize early on what they want to do in their lives, then they won't get to a point where they are aimless and are unsure what they do and end up just trying to find it out in the wild.
And how do you manage the federal government? We've all seen what's happened with the president trying to put, his imprint on Washington, D.C., on perhaps at one point trying to take power from the police, but it's been a real tug of war between the two agencies, the federal government and D.C. Tell us about that.
I believe the easiest way is communication. So within my job within systems, I noticed that if you don't recognize the bugs along the way, you'll just have the whole OS crash at some point. So you have to see where the bottlenecks, where the single points of failure are, and adjust those accordingly. I think that a lot of times we fail to realize that as much as we may fear the federal government, a lot of our local residents fear our local governance. And so if we don't recognize it on a local level, we'll never be able to adjust it and work with our federal counterparts.
I hate to ask you such a complex question. We have a very limited amount of time. The Green Party.
Yes.
Its presence in D.C. We hear so much about Republicans and Democrats and independents. What does the Green Party stand for in D.C.?
So I am with the DC Statehood Green Party. I say that we are unapologetically progressive. That is our motto, and that is what we stand by in the sense that we are back. We are trying to recognize that we are not necessarily a dominant party within the city, but I believe that the residents have been defaulting to where they have been now instead of recognizing a party that really will say we are coming together for the betterment of you, the betterment of our city, and the betterment of not just your future, but our grandkids and great-grandkids' future as well. DC is in the midst of recognizing its ability to get into statehood, and we just need leadership that also understands that and progresses it forward.
All right, a Green Party candidate for D.C. Mayor Robert Gross. Thank